Welcome to this club seminar. Thank you for joining. What we're talking about today is what makes bridge fun. Hopefully we all think bridge is fun. We all play because we enjoy the game, and first and foremost, it's supposed to be fun and social, and an enjoyable way to spend time. So in this seminar, we'll be talking about, we know that clubs have got lots of different types of players. They've got less experienced players, more experienced players, players that like different kinds of events. And we'll be just talking about some different kinds of events that the club might want to consider putting on, that might attract different people. They might appeal to different people. They might get players who have stopped coming to the club to come and play, or they might get players who are playing to maybe play another session. So we'll be hearing from various people who about what different events that they've run that have worked well, and just getting some different perspectives. So we're first going to hear from Abby. Abby is a great teacher and also runs her own club. And she's going to be talking about what is the grassroots bridge player and what do they want. So I will hand over to Abby.
Okay, I haven't really prepared too much because I tend to talk off the top of my head. But from my experience of teaching and playing years ago, I think the modern grassroots bridge player has changed quite a lot in what they want and what time they have. So in the old days, you'd always have your bridge clubs with the 3-hour duplicates and always in the evening. Nowadays, particularly the people I teach from scratch, they're starting off at a different point, mainly because they haven't played bridge at home for a while. So they're starting off behind already. And most people who come to my lessons generally want to meet new people and to keep their brain busy and active as they're getting a bit older. So the way I've set up my club is very much on the social side. So whilst I run official duplicates, it's extremely sociable. We are probably the noisiest bridge club in the country. And that's just because I'm there. But apart from that, everyone else talks. And I think what I have noticed is that that's what people are looking for, is a more social element. I run slightly shorter sessions because they find 3 hours too much. So most of my duplicates are only 2.5 hours, and I offer one 3-hour session for those who want a slightly more serious game. So yeah, I think the desire of bridge players is slightly different over time. And I think they genuinely just want to meet new people and enjoy using their brain and learn something new. That's my thoughts on it. Is there anything you want me to add, Jonathan?
No, that's great. Thank you. I can yes, I again play at Abby's club. I can attest it is certainly it's great fun. And yes, it's a good place to go and play.
I think it's key to settle people in, to have a range of different sessions and make everything fun. So all my lessons are very relaxed and fun, and no pressure. And yeah, it has to be more relaxed, I think, than a feeling like you're at school type of environment.
Okay, unless we've got any questions for Abby, we will carry on to Chris Duckworth, who's going to be talking about a right through the pack teams event that she has organised.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, hello everybody. Yeah, I look after the teaching side of things at the Young Chelsea Bridge Club, and we have a particular problem because we're known really as a club that has a very high standard game, and our main game is quite high standard. But we do a lot of teaching, and we always have a very big gap between the people who come in and teach and learn and trying to get them integrated into the club. It's particularly, it's always been the case. We just kind of accepted it, I suppose, in the past. But now we are trying to run more social bridge, as Abby has described, with getting more pairs who just want to come along and enjoy themselves. And they do, and they come and they play, they learn, and some of them transfer. The thing is, we run our classes in the evening, and traditionally we've had an evening game, which is a strong game, but we now run daytime games, which are more sociable. But we can get a few of the people who learn in the lessons are still in the evening, so it's kind of, there's no real sort of obvious progression for anybody, and we have kind of separate groups within the club. We wanted to try and integrate them in some way, and we thought of having this event which we called where we'd bring everybody together. We called it Right Through the Pack because it's intended for people of NGS levels from everything from 2 up to 8. So it's all the sort of standards, and it's a sort of a pro-am team. So we decided that the pro players would be Friday night players, our kind of strong players, and we invited them to come along and form partnerships, and the AM players to come along and play. So the beginners, the people who play in our relaxed games, were our AMs, and we made a pro-am team with one pro pair and one AM pair. We chose that kind of setup because the pros really only want to play, they want to have a decent game. They're rather reluctant to play with an AM beginner, and similarly the beginners are rather scared of playing with a pro. So we paired them up with people that they feel comfortable with. We actually, in the event, they only play against other pros, or pros only play against other pros, and AMs only play against other AMs. So we teamed them up randomly. We got them to enter as pairs, and on the evening we paired them up randomly, well, mostly randomly, with a bit of fixing going on to make sure they were compatible teams. And they played, and it was the idea, we gave them a free glass of Pimm's. It was in the summer, the first time we ran it, and we gave them a free glass of Pimm's and a chance to meet their teammates and to chat before the event. And the idea was that they would play and then score up afterwards, and get, perhaps the AMs would get some tips from the pros, and they'd get to know each other. It was moderately successful, but one of the problems we had was that the pros were playing at a much faster pace than the AMs. And so the second time we ran it, we did the same thing. They all played the same boards, but the pros played 24 boards, and the AMs played only 2 of the 3 boards in each round. So they played 16 boards, and that worked much better. So they almost finished at about the same sort of time. And I think, by and large, everybody enjoyed it. They enjoyed both events, and we're going to run one more in January. It's not completely successful in integrating people, but it is starting to get people realize that there are other groups of players in the club, and they're starting to meet and understand the needs of each other. And I think it's a good thing. That's basically it.
Right. Sounds wonderful.
It was quite complicated to set up the movement, so that all the pros played against each other and all the AMs played against each other. But happily, Jonathan was able to sort that out for us. So we did work out. We basically just did 2 pairs movements, but in the teammates played in the opposite direction at each in one section.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris. And if anyone else wants to try it and wants help with movements, then just feel free to contact me. I can
We're very
help.
grateful for that help.
Oh no, no
But
problem.
it did work.
Yes, it's actually quite relatively straightforward. Once we got your head around it, I think it was trying to envisage what we were trying to do was probably the harder bit.
Yes.
Right, thank you, Chris. So we are now going to go over to Andrea Knox, who from the WBU, who is going to talk about some of the things that she has been organising.
Thanks, Jonathan, and hi, everybody.
Hi.
So I'm the president of the Welsh Bridge Union for my sins, and in my day-to-day life, I have a very sensible job. I'm a commercial lawyer, so I don't get enormous opportunity to have very much fun, which means that when I'm dealing with my Welsh Bridge Union stuff, I do like to have a little bit of fun. So I hope you don't mind, but I've got a bit of a presentation to do you, because I think some of the things I'm going to talk about, a picture speaks 1,000 words. So I'll just share the screen for you. Won't be a sec. So we've got it here, Bridge and Fun. That's what I was told by Mary that would be a good title. So let's see how we get on. So the first thing, for the Welsh Bridge Union, we're a much smaller organisation than you guys, and we have to make sure that we keep going. So we've looked at how to encourage new members to join and how to keep existing members happy. And there's 3 types of approach we have to our membership. We have to be conscious of natural attrition where we can't do anything to stop it, but there's lots of preventable attrition, lots of people that might think about leaving that we can perhaps, by changing the way we do things, encourage them to stay for longer. And then also we need growth from new members. So when we're looking at how to approach these things, we can't do anything at all about people who pass away. That's just one of the things in the bridge world. There's a relatively elderly population. However, we can do quite a bit about the other type of natural attrition, which is the accessibility issues. So we can deal with people who have lack of mobility. We can do more things online, which is, I'm a massive fan of face-to-face. There is a definite need for online. The other thing we can do is look at events where we have a partner lined up, because we have a lot of natural attrition where something happens to someone's partner, either death or mobility wise, and they're unable to go because Bridge is such a partnership event. So what we're looking at when we are designing how we run things is anything that we can do something about, we have an active plan to deal with it. So you'll see as we go through on one of the events we run, in fact, 2 of the events, we have a partnership desk, a complete full partnership desk, so anyone is able to go and play. We've got here now preventable attrition, which is people who don't come back. They try it out and it just isn't for them. And I think everyone who's ever played bridge will probably agree it's not necessarily the friendliest of sports when you go to a bridge club. The number of times when I was sort of very new to bridge that you go in and no one says hello and it isn't friendly. So on that, we really are trying to look at the way people behave to each other and just making that a bit of extra effort to include people and say hi. It's one thing when we talk about best behaviour at bridge to not be horrible, but David Gill made a very interesting and good point on this. It's very different from actually saying positively try to be extra nice. Very few people, I think, in the bridge world positively try to actually behave in a nice social way that you would in day-to-day life. So I think that's a really big thing. So the more you feel that something is fun and enjoyable, the more likely you are to come back. And we're going to deal now, just for the one boring bit of this presentation, is a little bit of psychology. I'm going to talk very briefly about very, very respected psychology, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, why people do anything, basically. And bridge has an enormous overlap with this by understanding why people do anything. Here's the table of the hierarchy of needs. So really respected psychological analysis. So the first thing, the basic needs, you need a food, you need a bed, you need, some money for everything. These are all the safety things that everyone needs for their day-to-day life. But then the second 2 here, whoops, let me go back. You've got esteem, love and belonging. This is what pretty much motivates anyone to do anything in their social lives that they don't have to do to survive. So you've got, I'm self-confidence, respect, self-esteem, love and belonging, I'm accepted, connection, relationships, love. All of these things do actually filter into the bridge world. The more people feel part of a community, like Abby's talking about her club, the more it's fun and enjoyable. Actually, the more people are going to want to play bridge. And this whole technical philosophy underlies the way that the Welsh Bridge Union is approaching expanding and safeguarding its membership in the bridge world. So when I first started as president, there was the big sort of criticism was, what does the Welsh Bridge Union do for me? And as part of analysing that, I split it into the 4 types of players that we have in the union. We've got internationals, probably only about, I don't know, less than 10% of our membership, probably 5% regular internationals. You've got club tournament players, the Green Point chasers who will go away to weekend congresses, etc. You've got club master point seekers who are bothered about how they come each week. And you've got club players that aren't really interested in master points. And we looked at trying to design something that was enjoyable, fun and accessible for those 4 groups of players. And I'll show you what we've put together for each one. As part of working out what people wanted, I'm doing a tour of basically every bridge club. I've done well over half of them now, and just meet a person there to actually go and play in their session and work out somebody at that club who is somebody I can actually then take feedback from and have a direct engagement with the club. Because it's one thing doing something, it's another thing getting that message passed on to members. And you'll see from the last slide how we've then looked at integrating the physical contacts we've made with the way we now distribute and disseminate information about events we're running. So I called it my Knox tour. And by going to the different clubs, you'll be amazed how many clubs have got the wrong details on our website in terms of where they function, the wrong details for who we should be contacting. There's no substitute to actually physically going there to check who's there, what they're doing at what times of the day and what they want. And lots of clubs we're finding are moving to afternoon sessions rather than just evening sessions since lockdown. Now, these are the events we're now running for different levels of players. Now, this is our Strictly Come Teaching. It has a little bit of an overlap, Chris, with what you're doing, and it's our annual Pro-Am event. This is going to be on the 31st of January, Saturday night, 2026, at 7 o'clock on Real Bridge, and you are all invited, and everyone at your clubs is invited. So please feel free to invite anyone you want. It's a super social event, and I'll tell you what happens. So in Strictly, firstly, everyone dresses up, don't they? And probably about a third of the people entering are going to be in black tie or something fancy. We have full Welsh dress, all sorts of costumes, because it's actually fun. And sometimes just actually turning up dressed in a fun way makes it a little bit more fun. But the way we work Strictly is as follows. Everyone is either a pro or a celebrity learner. The pro is any type of ordinary club player who's used to playing, real bridge and normal bridge. We try and make sure that they're friendly people. There are a few people we might not actively seek out participation from. I can't possibly mention them on a recorded call, but I'm sure you all have some in all of your clubs. But basically, we get a load of pros. So people like any of us here would be a pro, and we team them up with a learner. So anyone who's just through lessons and can cope with playing, one no trump transfers, but really would be pretty terrified about going on to a normal bridge session. And who would also find it a bit difficult keeping up with the pace of a normal play. We do 8-minute boards, and they play 16 boards in 2 board rounds. The instructions are as follows. The pro is instructed to absolutely look after their celebrity learner. When you get to the table, they have to introduce them. And so it's the minute you go to the table, it's really comfortable environment. The pros have to absolutely have their bid. They're not allowed to do anything fancy. None of this, oh, I thought it was it was a good 13 count. I opened it a strong no trump. For health and safety reasons, we don't allow any multi-2 diamonds or transfer responses. It's all super simple. And then the thing is, beginners are always a bit puzzled, aren't they? Sometimes you get a hand, what on earth do I do? So what you do is you ping the director button, and one of us comes to the table, we can see all the cards, and we can give them some tips. So there's never a moment where these celebrity learners are going to be worried about what to do, because they just call one of the directors and we come and give them a hand. It's so super friendly. There's actually 3 lots of prizes. The first prize is a glitter ball trophy for the 2 winners, because it's Strictly, so you've got to have glitter balls. There's also prizes. There's a prize for the best dressed partnership, and there's a prize for the friendliest partnership. So afterwards, you're actively asked who's been even friendlier than normal at the table. And probably the most enjoyable prize was to give to the friendliest partnership, because friendliness is just never normally awarded. And it's nice to make it a positive thing to look for, because I think when people know something's being monitored, you sort of think about it a little bit more, and you go that extra mile to try and be a bit more friendly. So please take a note of the date, 31st of January 26, 7 o'clock. The details are on the Welsh Bridge Union website. You're welcome to invite all of your club members. If you've got people who don't have a pro, because there's more learners in your club, we can find pros. If there's pros who want to volunteer to be teamed up with a learner, please let us know. I run the central database, and then I'll pair up everyone. If any of you guys want to come along and help out, feel free to volunteer. We'll either use you as a standby to make up a pair on the night, or, someone's having trouble logging in, you can come and then go. Or alternatively, if you want to come on a direct login and just pop to the tables and help out and say hi, you'd be very welcome. But please get in touch if you'd like to be part of that. I think we've got a photo of the winners coming up next. So here's the fancy dress ones. Julie on the left, she nicked her husband's suit, so he didn't have anything fancy to wear. So that's quite funny. And you've got Kath on the right, who is in full Welsh dress for the night. And here's the winners. We've got Joe on the left, 2 of our Welsh juniors, and James on the right, who was very new. Part of James winning was then he was immediately disqualified and isn't allowed to be a celebrity learner next year, so he's now a pro. So it was quite fun making the announcement that he was disqualified. As part of all of this, we have regular focus groups, because by making ourselves completely accessible to members, if there's any feedback or anything not going well, we make sure that they have an absolute route at one click of a button to the top. So we did this probably every 2 or 3 months for the first year, and then found that no one was joining, because actually everyone had felt they'd got the opportunity to feedback and they knew who we were, how to get hold of us. So we would do those much less frequently now. But at the beginning, they were really handy. So people knew just how easy it was to get the information flowing. So the Strictly Club teaching, that's for the sort of beginner levels. The next one, and this was just a little bit of fun that I couldn't resist. And we were running the speedball, because the Welsh were doing the Peggy Bear and Junior Camrose. So they made the mistake of giving me a license to do whatever I wanted about it. And so I decided we were going to have speedball in Welsh, which we call Pelcyflwm, and a few different rules. So I made all the teams have stickers for their home nations. And when you played speedball, the first two tables to finish had to wave their Welsh flags. And then they got bonus points. And the last two got penalty points if they were the slowest. So you should see they were so competitive. We take that a step further when we do it with adults. Because it's Welsh, we do it to the tune of Tom Jones and Shirley Bassey. So last year I've had some of your England internationals having to wave flags, and during the chorus of Delilah, you're not allowed to play bridge, you've got to sing the chorus. I mean, literally, you'd be amazed how grown adults with sensible jobs can be persuaded to stop playing bridge and sing Delilah. And this is what making the whole room a little bit more friendly has. What a friendly congress it is when you have things like this happening. It's bridge. When we play the bridge hands, we're super serious, but it's just that little bit more friendly, which gives a lovely atmosphere to everything. And these guys were having loads of fun. Now, the next one, which is another thing that you're all invited to, is part of training beginners is you need to actually have somewhere to put them once they've got through the basic lessons, because there's this enormous gap that you've already identified on this call, that someone who's come through a set of bridge lessons can't just be thrown into a bridge club and expected to flourish. They'll actually be terrified, they'll have a terrible time and will stop coming unless we arrange mentoring and we arrange some sessions that they can cope with at the right speed. So what we do once a month now is we've invented something we call Cake Club. We have to do some of these things online, and it's because if you do something online, anyone can join from anywhere. So it's a sort of necessary evil. And we call it the Cake Club because effectively you play 10 boards in 2 board sessions. You have a break for a piece of cake and a cup of tea, and then you play another 4 rounds. So 18 boards in total. And we have a full partnership desk for this one. So it's designed for people at just beginner levels when they're only just getting confident enough to play. And just like we do in Strictly, we use the director button for if they want to call a director to the table for a few tips. So no one has to feel worried about what to do. So if any of you have people just coming through lessons, this is on the 2nd Wednesday of every month at 2 o'clock. So the next one is Wednesday, the 10th of December. It's completely free. Just like Strictly is completely free, Cake Club is completely free. The Welsh Bridge Union fund it all. We think it's really important to create these venues that people can come through the ranks and play and gain confidence. And we actually have had some really quite senior players playing Cake Club. They just fancied, a bit of practice. There's no barriers to who plays. The main thing is you just have to be super friendly and appreciate that when you're playing against beginners at the table, they might just call the director and get a few tips. So please feel free, once again, to advertise that to anyone you want. The details are on the Welsh Bridge Union website each time. And then if any of you want me to just email you more details directly, please just get in touch afterwards. But these are the sorts of things that we're having because we need to make sure that as people come through the ranks, we have the right place to put them that has the right sort of vibe to it. So this is a really nice, friendly club with a partnership desk for anyone who doesn't have their partner, whose partner's away or partner's passed away, etc. So that's the sort of beginner level. We're now moving on to the more competitive people. So we do Dragon Online pairs. So this is a green pointed thing once a month that we run with Oliver Cowan. The reason we call it Dragon Pairs is it creates a bit more community, a bit of fun. We're playing in Dragon Pairs. The idea of branding and having a brand that sounds fun and friendly is good marketing, but it also creates the right format. People know that things they're coming to that are the WBU, Oliver Cowan sort of events are always friendly. Best behaviour is really important. Then finally, we've got our flagship congress, which now we're delighted to be doing with the EBU this year after our first year, which is Clanbrighton. We called it Clanbrighton because it's Welsh, but it's in Brighton. And we've had, Jonathan's got a dragon. We have tons of dragons. That's okay. And Jonathan's going to be one of our directors this year, which is brilliant. The interesting thing is the directors at Clanbrighton are under really strict orders that when they come to the table, what do you have to say, Jonathan?
What's the caring?
Yeah. And so you might just want to call Jonathan just to make him have to say that. So make him a reason to call him. We had some quite funny comments about Clanbrighton. We had one of my mates who's lived in Wales for forever saying, "Where's Clanbrighton? I've never heard of that. I can't think where it is." We had one of your English juniors ask his partner, when are they coming to Wales? It took a while for everyone to work out it's actually in Brighton. After this call, because I haven't got time on this call, if you look up Clanbrighton Bridge Union, so just do an internet search for Clanbrighton Bridge Union, it's our website. If you then click on the Clanbrighton Bridge Union, facts about Clanbrighton, just have a look. We've made up some completely ridiculous facts about Clanbrighton. It gives you an idea of how we're just developing this. Bridge doesn't have to all be serious. Have a look at our completely crazy facts about this fictitious place of Clanbrighton, and you'll see how we're building this atmosphere of friendliness. When we did the logo, it was 2024 when we designed it, which is why we put since 2025 on it. Those were the dates for last year. So this year's Clanbrighton dates actually are the 5th to the 7th of June. So it's worthwhile. Don't turn up there the 13th to 15th. We've all have gone. And we're at the Metropole. I've put this picture in just to show you. We wanted to have a really sort of fun logo for it. And I did this by typing into Microsoft Copilot, design a picture of a man and woman on a beach with cards, beach balls and a dragon and Welsh flags. So, and I typed it into Copilot, it's free, and it designed this logo for us. But the weird thing was this, I just find it incredible what AI can do. I typed in as part of my instructions, do it in the style of a 1950s postcard. And that's what it did. That's amazing, isn't it? That was completely free. So all of this sort of branding is part of what we're doing to create the bit of fun that goes with the way we're approaching things. And then finally, our big tournament for all our major competitions, because it's quite difficult as a small bridge union to arrange multiple events. You've got to get the cards there, you've got to get the tables there, you've got to get the director there. And actually, what we found is, because Wales is quite big, we were playing last weekend in Porthcawl. It took us 4.5 hours to get there. So Wales, if you try and arrange an event that keeps all of Wales happy, very, very difficult to do because we're so far apart. So we put all our bridge comps, all our main national tournaments are going into something we've decided to call Bridge Stedford, like the Eisteddfod. So we're going to have a fun tournament where we're going to do a mixture of all our serious comps, our full open pairs, open, mixed pairs, all of that sort of stuff, open teams, but also doing some fun events as well. One of the things I'm going to be doing is 18 holes of bridge, where you're all in golf caps and you have a par score for each board. Little things like that just make it a little bit more fun, and it's a good way of getting the best players to integrate with the less experienced players and realise that everyone is just people. It's just that some people happen to be better at bridge than others, but everyone's just normal, and it gets them all socialising with each other. So that's the way we like to approach those sorts of things. And then once again, at Bridge Stedford, we're going to look into doing a full partnership desk so no one's left out. And then finally, linking back to the earlier slides, part of the tour we do on all the different clubs, I've now got contacts at all the clubs I've visited because our database and ways of contacting people was just clearly not getting through to everyone. I've called this scheme, Don't Shoot the Messenger, because I now have a messenger at each club that when I want to publicise something we're doing that's fun, I email them, they've all met me, and they can then disseminate it to their own group, but they can also stand up at their weekly or, bi-weekly bridge evening and actually tell the club about the things we're doing. So hopefully that'll give you an idea of the sorts of things the Welsh Bridge Union are doing that I hope bring a little bit more fun back into the game of bridge. So I'm here for another 5 minutes, then I'm afraid I have to dash off to another appointment, but really happy to take any questions from any of you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Andrea. I think that's fantastic, all that you're doing in Wales. So any questions from Andrea? Perfect.
Now, if anyone wants to ask me anything afterwards or email me privately, my email address is andrea.knox@knoxcommercial.co.uk. So feel free to what we call in Wales, moida me.
Excellent. Thank you.
No worries. And thank you, everyone. And hopefully you can join us at Strictly or at the next Cake Club. And feel free to advertise them as widely as you want. Have a good day, everyone.
Brilliant. Thank you. We're now going to move on to Derek Brinkley, who's going to talk to us about Cafe Bridge. Derek, you'll just need to unmute. Yeah, okay. Perfect.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me onto this Zoom call, because the last Zoom call I was on recently was a speed awareness course, so it's a pleasure to be here rather than that one. Secondly, I should just make you aware that we may be joined on this presentation by my spaniel, because if the postman turns up in the next 5 minutes, it's unavoidable that he'll not take part. So what I'd like to do today is just share some thoughts with you about our experience in Suffolk on Cafe Bridge. And I too have a presentation, I'm afraid, not too long though. So I'll just try and share that. Okay, so hopefully that's available for you to see. So Cafe Bridge, a fun and relaxed social bridge event. What is Cafe Bridge? So many of you will be familiar, but others may well not be familiar. So let me quickly run through with you, for you rather, what it actually is. So it's essentially a relaxed game of bridge, but instead of playing in your club environment, you're playing it in a town centre, hopefully an attractive location, where instead of moving tables, although you do move tables, but you move cafes and restaurants, between cafes and restaurants after each round. And that pattern repeats itself across the day. And there's a lunch included, so there's a huge social aspect to that. And scoring usually takes place using the Brian Bridge app, not exclusively, but Vic Zaleska, for those of you who know of him, provides the app and helps you direct these events, because they're quite technically difficult to manage and to run. And he's always available to help. There's a blog on the EBU website, and I've left the link there, which I don't know whether this can be shared afterwards, but there's a blog there about Cafe Bridge and tips and tricks and hints as to how to organise them, because it is a little bit complicated. Sorry. I'll just mute myself. Stop. Sorry, my apologies. I knew that was going to happen. So when promoting this event, when promoting Cafe Bridge, it's also an opportunity to get out there into the community as well, because although we use some what we thought were fun images on the Suffolk Bridge website, we also, these same promotional activities were put forward by the local charity that we were also supporting. So they were seen by quite a lot of people. So let me just show you a couple of those. And by the way, I should say that we tend to pick a theme for our Cafe Bridge events. And this year we picked Allo Allo, which is the old 80s sitcom which takes place in a cafe in Belgium. Now, why is that going to work? There we go. So this was Cafe Rene, as you can see. I'll just leave you to read those if you want to. And this is just to reinforce the fact that this is going to be a fun event. And the second one, I've forgotten the name now. But anyway, I'm sure you recognize the lady in the beret. And people, if you look at the very last line of text, it was any questions, email Rene@Cafe Bridge. So how's the profile of Bridge changed in Suffolk over the past 3 years since lockdowns? Well, looking at the data that we have, and I don't know how many of you get to see this, but the EBU provides some very useful data about profile of club, the number of players and primary players playing in clubs year on year over a 3-year period. We've noticed that table numbers have decreased year on year since lockdown in most of our clubs. However, Social Bridge has really seen a renaissance. It's become very popular over the last 3 years. We even have 2 brand new face-to-face sessions every week, and they typically have around 15 tables, sometimes more. And there's a third one, another Social Bridge event, which has around 12 to 13 tables. The Suffolk Bridge clubs, and there aren't too many of them, but the Suffolk Bridge clubs with a very strong social theme have maintained and actually increased their average number of tables. So this whole social aspect associated with bridge does seem to be where people want to be at the time, which is probably very much consistent with some of the people who've spoken earlier today. So Cafe Bridge, our experience in Suffolk, We ran the first one in Bury St Edmunds in 2024 last year, and we had 34 pairs. This year we had more than double, 72 pairs. So we had 144 people wandering around the small market town of Bury St Edmunds playing bridge in cafes and restaurants. And it was a really good mix of players from both traditional bridge clubs or affiliated bridge clubs and relaxed bridge clubs. There were even kitchen bridgers there who never really played bridge properly and didn't understand how to use a bidding box, but they got helped out by the people they were playing against. The success is such that we're now going to run 2 events next year, one in Bury St Edmunds and the other one in another beautiful market town called Woodbridge. So what's the attraction of Cafe Bridge? Well, the location to start with obviously helps, making sure you're playing in an attractive town or a city. The unusual surroundings as well of playing bridge, not in a village hall or a dedicated club environment, but playing in restaurants and cafes. It's a fun and relaxed bridge event. There's no pressure on anybody. Nobody ever calls the director unless you can't find the board or you've lost some cards. Face-to-face is a huge part of this. There's no doubt about it. People came from across the county, and we had people from much further afield. If you know where Suffolk is, you'll know that Yorkshire and Surrey are quite a long way from us, but we had players coming from both of those counties and from London, for that matter as well, to join us on the day. Once again, strong social aspect here, lunch with friends, and maybe you make even new friends too. If you look on the blog that I've written, you'll see some photographs, and one of them, there's a large table in one of the venues where the restaurant owner put everybody around one large table for lunch. And it was a great opportunity for people to meet other people from across the county, from other clubs, in a social setting. The other big thing that most Cafe Bridge events in the country are associated with is supporting a charity. And that definitely appeals to people to be able to take part in something and make a donation and support a charity. We've, for the last 2 years, have supported a local hospice who, in parallel with our event during the day, have run a raffle. So what's the benefit, or is there a benefit at all? Well, I certainly believe there is, and we've seen the evidence suggests that there is. It's definitely an opportunity for relaxed bridge players to meet and play against more highly skilled and experienced bridge players. There's no doubt about that. And it helps remove that fear that many people, especially, let's say, beginners have of joining a club. They come to realize that not all bridge players are ogres and unfriendly, but there's plenty of friendly bridge players and friendly clubs out there. So it definitely helps reduce that fear that some have of joining an affiliated club. It also, of course, introduces beginners to a competitive bridge in, what is really a safe environment for them, because there's no pressure at all. When it comes to raising the profile of bridge, this is something which Cafe Bridge does in the raising the profile in the locality that it takes part in. If you get a charity on board, their social media presence will certainly help raise the profile. There are local media opportunities, both radio and print media. We used print media last year to good effect. And then the other thing that happened, and it's not surprising really, a lot of people are having lunch or coffee and cake or whatever in these cafes, and you're playing bridge in public, and people are intrigued as to what the hell is going on. And one couple inquired of just myself, and that, bear in mind there was 144 people apart from Victor and myself playing bridge. One couple inquired of me what was happening, and they're now enrolled in beginner classes. So it definitely increases the profile of bridge within your communities. Whether this is linked directly to Cafe Bridge or not, I can't say, but right now we have 4 sets of beginner lessons taking place and about to take place in the next month or so across the county. And that's probably more than we've had in a long time. So is it making a difference in Suffolk? Well, I'm going to be honest about it. It's early days, so it's hard to say for sure what the impact might be going forward. But definitely face-to-face bridge is making a comeback. For years, we've all criticised teenagers for sitting on a computer in their bedrooms. And a lot of bridge players find themselves doing the same thing these days. But hopefully, this is a way of getting people back to face, and people do seem to like it. And the proof of whether it's having an impact will simply be by monitoring the data that Jonathan sends to counties, and we can see what the impact of the actions we as a county committee are taking with such events. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Derek. I think that's really, really encouraging. And yeah, another great kind of event. And yeah, I think it's, as you say, it's a really great opportunity to be out in public playing bridge and raising the awareness of the game to other people who might know nothing about it. We're now going to move on to Christmas ideas, which Sam is going to present.
Yes, thank you, Jonathan. Christmas, obviously, time of year where you have lots of Christmas parties, and it's a great time of year to just make your club games probably a bit more fun, a bit more lighthearted than usual. Sometimes that can just mean mince pies and a bottle of wine, or it could mean let's mix things up, turn the serious fun into more sociable fun. So we've got some ideas. They are on the website. I have made a blog. If you look at the blog on the website, I have put all the ideas on there, but I'll just run through them quickly for you now. The first thing to mention is aggregate scoring. So most Christmas parties work best with aggregate scoring, and that's whether you're going to change the rules, swap partners, whatever you want to do. It's a lot easier on everyone, and especially the scorer, if it's aggregate rather than duplicate scoring. The first fun way we have to mix things up is by partner swapping. So we suggest playing 3 board rounds. On the first round, you play with the partner that you've come with. Then on the second board, east and south change places. And then on board 3, east, the original east and west change places again. So you're always playing with someone new, someone different, and it just gives people an opportunity to play with people that they probably wouldn't have done before. But it's just for 1 round, so there's no pressure, and it keeps things interesting. The second thing we've looked at is round prizes. So I know a lot of clubs buy small Christmas presents specifically for their Christmas parties. So we say, get a selection of small, low value prizes, and then each round the TD can announce what's going to be the task, so to speak, for that round. And then the first player to fulfill that task wins the prize. So that could be, making 3 no trumps exactly on the nose, making exactly 90, beating a doubled contract, making or beating a redoubled contract, something like that. You can make up your own, more rules, different tasks. The other one is, we've called it Juice Ball. So you can find or make a small soft ball, and then each time someone wins a trick with a 2, they shout across the room, juice ball, and whoever is in possession of the ball has to throw it to someone who's shouted that across the room, and then at the end of the night, whoever's holding the ball, they win a prize. Or if you want to mix it up, you can say whoever's holding it every hour, every half an hour, they win a spot prize at that particular time. Another one we've looked at is bingo bridge. So the committee or the TDs or whoever's planning the bridge Christmas party sets up a bingo card for everyone, and they can have different options, that particular tasks that can be marked off across the night. So again, it could be like the round prizes, but with a bingo card. So bid and make 3 no trumps, go off in a doubled contract, make a contract with 3 over tricks. And then if people, get the corners or a full house or one of a, all of a row, they can shout bingo and they get particular prizes for that one. If you want to make it even more fun, you could even change the rules for one round or more than one round. So you could have the TD announce for one board each round, say, for this round, aces are low, not high, and just mix things up a bit, or twos are wild, or the dealer must open one, no trump, things like that. Just to give a bit of a twist and a change to the rules, get everybody laughing, having a bit more fun. And also, you could teach everyone mini bridge. Most people know the full game of bridge, but a lot of people at bridge clubs may not have played mini bridge. It's simple, it's easy to learn, and once everyone at your club has learned the rules of mini bridge, then when they're going home to their families and friends at Christmas parties, they've got a new game that they can teach everyone, and then it's an easy introduction to people for the full game of bridge. And then finally, we've suggested playing with the experts. Now, this isn't like the pro-am sessions that people have been talking about here. This is getting someone, a member of the club who won't be playing in the session, to make up boards from a recent international event. So we've had a lot of international events recently, and a lot of these boards can be found online. So you make up the boards using those hands, and then the evening is played using your standard movement, and then at the end of the night you give the scorecard of your international teammates, and then you score them as if you were playing a teams event rather than a pairs event, to see how you would have done with your international teammates at this teams event. So that's all the ideas that we've come up with here. If anybody has any other ideas or things that they've done at their own Christmas parties, please let us know, and we'd be more than happy to share it on the blog. I'll put the link to the blog in the chat so you can find it really easily.
Yeah, I already did.
Oh, thanks, Jonathan. Perfect.
No worries.
Head of the game.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. And yeah, as Sam says, if anyone's got questions about any of those things or how to implement them, then yeah, then just come to us and we can help. So we'll move on. So the next section was younger perspective on what makes bridge enjoyable. So I spoke to one of our juniors, Liam Fegerty, about this. He wasn't able to join us today. He's at university lectures, which are understandably. But he gave me some points which I'll just share with you. So I mean, just to give you a bit of background, he's at uni, so at Durham Uni. The uni does have a club as well, but we very much we try and encourage the students from the uni club to come and play at the town club as well. So this was his thoughts. So he said, you need to welcome students, reach out to the uni player, well, to the uni or young players in the area if possible, to make them feel that they're wanted at the local club and that they should come along. Provide lifts. I go and pick up the students every week from where they are, because it makes it a lot more likely they'll actually come if you pick them up and drop them home again. He said lots of young people are more used to playing imps. They often play teams matches online with other young people. So teams evenings in the club can be quite popular, and younger players might prefer that, at least sometimes as an alternative to normal match point pairs. Very important. He said it's very important to have friendly atmosphere. Don't want people taking the game too seriously, especially if there are less experienced players there. the young people will learn quickly, but they need to be, you want to encourage them if they come along to the club, encourage them and make them feel welcome, so they keep coming. And social aspects. I think this is a really good point. He said discussing the boards afterwards can be social and also educational, and make the younger people feel like they're part of the club. Certainly when I was at university, which is 20 years ago now, but at Coventry Bridge Club, there were some really experienced players, and we used to go to the pub with them afterwards, and talk about the hands, and that was really useful for me and the other uni students, to hear the perspective of these much more experienced players. So that's just so some thoughts from Liam. So appreciate, thanks to him for sharing those. So we'll now hand over to Mary, who's going to talk to us about plans for promoting 2026 classes.
Hi, everyone. So the promotion of autumn classes has gone well, and so much so that we're going to repeat the exercise. And once all the fun of Christmas is over, people will be looking at the new year, New Year's resolutions and all the rest of it. So it's a great time to lay on classes, open days, bridge in a weekend, taster sessions. We're going to start the promotion in around a week. So if you can let me know of the dates of your open days, your beginner classes, your intermediate classes, seminars that you're running, any event that can attract people to your club or your class, if you let me know about it. I've put the link in the chat. If you put the details of the event into the form, it'll go directly into the microsite that we're promoting. So yeah, just let me know. That's all from me for now.
We will send out after the meeting. We will send out all these links, so don't worry about that. And as always, the recording of this webinar will be put up on the website. So if anyone, if you want to go back and check anything, or other people from the club want to see it, the recording will be available on the website. So that's the end of the formal presentations. We're so happy to open it to the floor now for any questions or any points that other people want to raise. Minimize them.
Yes, Jim.
I wasn't sure how I attracted attention. So I've got a question for Derek, and thank you for his presentation on Cafe Bridge. And could he say a few words about how he chose his cafes and what sort of relationship he has with his cafe proprietors?
Right. Yeah. Hi. Thank you for that. So that's a very good question, actually. There are a number of things that you need to consider. I don't have them off the top of my head, but I can give you a couple of them now. But if you look on the blog on the EBU website, then there's how to organize a cafe bridge, and there's a whole section on how you go about selecting your cafes and restaurants. You have to think about mobility issues, for example. So you preferably want you want ones where there are no stairs, so everybody's playing on the ground floor, and there aren't too many steps to get up into the cafe. It's the biggest trick to doing this, to getting them on board, is not to tell them, not mention the word charity, believe it or not, because the moment you go into a cafe or a restaurant, you mention the word charity, they turn off because they think you're after money. What you do is you go in and say, I'd like to make a block booking for lunch. And the moment you do that, they think, oh, okay, great. And then you can tell them, we're going to be playing bridge during the day and we like to hold the tables for the whole day. And then you mention the charity later on, and then they feel good about that. And you find they actually come on board and even, sometimes make a contribution towards the charity. So once they've done it once, they were definitely up for doing it again. And you might be slightly economical with the truth and say, the top hotel in the town is taking part. which they were as it happens, but they didn't this year for some reason. And they will be encouraged to, if something like, we have a big hotel called the Angel Hotel. If you say the Angel Hotel are taking part, the smaller cafes and restaurants will definitely want to take part. So there's a lot of things you can do to get them on board, but once they've done it, they actually enjoy it themselves. But do look on the blog and you'll see how to engage with these people and relationships you can build with them year on year.
Thanks, Derek. And I believe I'm right in saying that Victor's also got some help and tips for running a Cafe Bridge on his website as well.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, if people do want to speak, just you can raise your hand on Zoom or just shout out. But Liz has raised her hand, so Liz, over to you.
You need to unmute yourself, Liz.
Liz, you're still on mute. We can't.
Hello, has that worked?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
I'm not at all
Perfect.
familiar with Zoom. I use Teams at work. I have a question, which is not for anyone particular, but really for anyone who's done brilliant presentations. Thank you. My question is, how do you actually advertise your classes? So I know we can advertise obviously on our own websites, and we can go through the EBU from they can go on your sort of events pages. How else do you get people? Because I'm sort of thinking about the people who've never heard of Bridge, who just think, oh, and see an advert and think, oh, that would be a really good idea. Has anyone got any unusual ideas or anything that's particularly worked?
Well, we are running Facebook advertising, which is it can be very carefully targeted to the demographic that you're wanting to reach and to the geography that you're wanting to reach. And if you've got an event in January, then if you let us know about it, we can do a geo-targeted advert specifically for your class. So you certainly want to do that. But then in addition to that, you need to engage with your local community online, if there are any forums or local Facebook groups. Also physical promotion. So a poster up on the notice board. If you can put a sign up outside your club where you meet, that would be wonderful. Sam's got lots of ideas. So, if you would like some more detailed support, give us a ring or send an email, and we can certainly help you out. There are lots of tips on the website though. So first, perhaps look at the promotions area on the club area. Sam can perhaps put a link to it.
I'll put a link in the chat, but yeah, please do let us know if you've got any specific events that you're wanting to advertise for. Just email either myself, Sam at ebu.co.uk, or mary.cousins@ebu.co.uk, and we can talk through exactly what you need and how we can go about that for you.
Because one of the other things we find is that we've got a really good sort of series of classes, but you tend to get people who just want to learn Bridge to play at home. And it's finding people who are going to want to, it's brilliant you're still raising the profile of Bridge, but what we really want to do is increase members coming into the club and staying in the club.
That comes back to the social element, Yeah. That's what this has all been about today, is how to get these people who have learned to come and enjoy playing at the club.
Yeah.
And that's,
Invite all your students to your Christmas party and get them interacting with all the regular players, and hopefully that can be a nice informal way that they can get to know people and see that they're not so scary.
Which club are you from, Liz?
I'm from Torquay.
Yeah.
So we're quite a small club, probably. We're in 2 sessions a week, but it's actually a really, really nice club.
Yeah, great.
Very friendly. Yeah.
Yes, Jerry.
Yeah, just a couple of sort of small things about integration and so forth. We're lucky we've got our own premises, and we have a regular, every Wednesday night we have a sort of gentle drive, which we get 10, 12, 14 tables, just depending. A couple of things we do with that is we actually have a trophy that we run with that for anybody who has had lessons within the last 3 years. So once you're 3 years away from your lessons, you're out of that trophy. So we contain it that way. We also have a club-wide 7 high trophy. So again, we've got people playing with their same sort of level of competition and not feeling overawed by the big beasts or anything like that. So that's quite fun for them. What we also do is with the Wednesday nighters, every couple of months we say, right, we're going to one of the main drives and we're going as a group. So they actually get to go along with their peers from the Wednesday night gentle session and along with a couple of us who run the Wednesdays, so they feel sort of a safe environment. And I prime the regular players at those drives that they better be on their best behaviour.
That's a lovely idea. I love that idea. Yeah.
So that works quite well. What we also do with people is that the trophies go back to the trophy cabinet, but we've got coffee mugs with their name on and with the trophy that they've won. So just a little bit of fun for them to have something they can, you know, it's not something on the shelf to dust, it's something just a bit of fun in the coffee cupboard at home. So that works quite well as well for them. And we've also got, at all our main events, we actually have really good catering team, I'm pleased to say. So half time, we get the sort of the food out and everybody circulates around chatting. So you get that opportunity to talk to other members of the club, maybe even talk to more senior players and so forth. So again, it's quite a good way of integrating people in. One thing I would mention at a general point is you see lots of competitions which are, you know, 9 high, jack high or whatever. And that seems to be about both players now. In the past, I've seen them where it was the aggregate, or the average was a 9 high, or the average was a jack high, or whatever. That seems to have gone. And I think that kind of misses an opportunity where you've got somebody who's bringing somebody else along, and suddenly there's a competition, and you know they may be a 10 and the person's a 6, and they can't take that person to the competition because one of them is over that level. And I would like to see more competitions where it was actually the aggregate, or you know, the average rather, that was the jack high or the 8 high or whatever, rather than just breaking up a pair because one of them was over that level. And that's it, really.
Thank you, Jerry. Yeah, I mean, with the relaxed games that the EBU runs on BBO at 11 a.m. and 7:30, we do try and be a bit more relaxed, and as you say, let people, let people play if they are slightly over, if they're playing with someone who's well below. But for obviously for events that the counties are running, they can choose the way they choose to implement it. But I definitely take your point. David Gill just got his hand up. David.
Thank you. Now, I've been involved in development for a lot of years, and back in 2017, I visited a large club, and I was early. I was to see the chair, and so I caught his attention as I walked in. He was in a session, and so he waved, and I stood aside, and the session continued. And I must say, not a pin dropped. It was actually run by a county chair, and not a pin dropped, and they played a few hands, and then the session finished. Everybody rushed out, and they were fully animated. And the chair said to me, "Sorry about that. That was our new social session." And we've come a long way from that. We've actually now, there's a lot more chatter in Bridge. I think it's we've got to actually move with the times to some extent. One of the things that I'm conscious of is that when we talk about socializing and bringing people in, we actually do it outside the teaching environment. But really, when they're teaching, that is where we should be getting our message across as well, and not sort of put the teaching to one side and say, you know, that's going to happen. I think there's opportunities there for actually the club to show their wares to students even when they're being taught. So that's just a thought for you. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Now I'm conscious we're 6 minutes over the hour, so if people do need to drop off, that's absolutely fine. Mary, myself, and Sam are happy to stay on for as long as people like, if people have got more questions. And we can open up the discussion if people have got questions about anything, not necessarily things related to what we've discussed today, then we're happy to discuss that too. Okay. Well, if we don't have any questions, we can close the meeting. Thank you all very much for attending. The next meeting is going to be in January, and I will someone is going to provide the date in a second. It's the 27th. It will be the next meeting will be the next club webinar will be on the 27th of January, again at 10 o'clock. More details about that will be sent out. But I hope to see everyone there. Oh, someone's just yes. Hope to see everyone there. Thank you all for attending, and have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.